What he just said has Rockets fans fired up as Amen Thompson recently gave some perspective about him playing with Kevin Durant next season. And for what he said and what Rockets fans should expect, we're going to go over all of that right here in this video of Rockets Digest. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and we appreciate you joining us as always. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, hit that subscribe button below. We have Rockets content for you guys on a daily basis. Now, Amen Thompson was at Summer League earlier this week in Vegas supporting his Houston Rockets, and Vanessa Richardson of Space City Home Network recently gave him an interview and discussed his playing with KD next season for the very first time. He is teaming up with the two-time Finals MVP, and he gave some insight on what he expects. And he first started off by saying that he had the most, respect for KD. Thinks he's one of the best players in the history of basketball, and he gave a quote rather of what he feels he can learn from Kevin Durant during his time as a Houston Rocket. And Amen Thompson said, quote, "I just hear his work ethic is different. I feel like I have a different work ethic too. So combining that, I think it's going to be fun." End quote. And this is something that we have talked about a lot on this channel. Amen Thompson is one of the most quickly developed players for people in his class, that 2023 class. Besides someone like Victor Wembanyama, there's really no other players in the NBA that match the level of intensity and play that Amen Thompson has. Now, we've discussed Amen Thompson has huge things to gain when teaming up with Kevin Durant, not only on a defensive standpoint, but also from an offensive standpoint. Kevin Durant, noticing the drills that he does and the stuff that he practices, a lot of that is going to translate not only to Amen Thompson, but to a lot of their players. And so for Amen Thompson to see this as an opportunity has Rockets fans very, very excited to see how he pans out as a player for his time as a Houston Rocket. And he answered some more questions that Vanessa Richardson had asked him. And so I'm going to take you to some of his other quotes in that Vegas interview as he said, quote, and this is in reference to what they would possibly do on the basketball court. He said, quote, "Maybe I throw him a lob. He might not be the same. I don't know if he wants to jump like that, so he can throw me some lobs. Definitely going to be passing to him a lot. They're going to be double teaming him, so I'm going to be cutting off the back door." And if that doesn't get you hyped up for the 2025 season, I don't know what will. Seeing a lob being thrown either way between Amen Thompson and Kevin Durant is absolutely electric. I cannot wait to see that happen. But he is also not wrong when he says that teams are going to be double teaming KD. He's been double teamed for a lot of his NBA career. It is nothing new. It is going to happen. And so that is just going to provide more opportunities for Amen Thompson to cut like he usually does and score easy points in the paint. And so I feel this is just going to unlock that part of the offense that was utilized last year under Udoka. A lot of cutting from Amen Thompson. He's a very great cutter. But now that you have a lot of the focus on KD, then Amen Thompson is going to get more of those opportunities. And once teams start realizing, hey, we have to limit Amen Thompson, we can't really double team KD, well, then you have a one-on-one with KD on the perimeter and greatest scorer of all time. He's going to get his buckets, and he's going to push us in games to just score more points, right? The offensive rating for this team last year was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't where it needed to be. It's the part of our game that needs to be amplified, right? That is why you go out and you get KD in these trades, right? You risk it all. You give up Jalen Green. You give up Dylan Brooks. You give up that 10th overall pick, and as well as 5 second rounders for 2-3 years of KD, right? Like that contract is still being negotiated, and so we'll give you the updates if anything of that matter pops up. But that's why you go out and get KD, and you team him up with Amen Thompson, who has a lot to learn for KD. And why you also teaming up with Jabari Smith Jr., who will also have lots to learn, and Alperen Şengün working with another player that is more of a scorer than a guy like Jalen Green was, who is very, very young, very, very talented, but not at the level of KD currently. And Amen Thompson pretty much wrapped up his thoughts, or he kind of said this in the beginning of his interview with Vanessa Richardson about, KD. He just said, quote, "He's going to make my life a lot easier. He's one of the greatest players ever, one of the best scorers ever." End quote. and nails it right on the head right here. KD is not only going to make Amen Thompson's life better, he's going to make our lives better. He's going to make this whole franchise better immediately on day one. That is what KD brings. That is what GM Rafael Stone decided to do in the offseason. He said, hey, I need to find someone that can pick up some of the slack, that can give this team a little bit of some leadership, right? Last year, for as young as we were, we did make the second seed. We did manage to go that far with what we have. But now when you add someone who's a power player, who's a former NBA MVP, two-time finals MVP, a two-time NBA champion, a champion that is so necessary in building and constructing your teams. You need someone who's been there before. Yes, you have that in Fred VanVleet, but to have that guy as your main guy, your number one, is tremendous in terms of building confidence in terms of all of your players. And going back to Amen Thompson, he has so much to gain from teaming up and learning from KD, right? KD probably only will play 3 more seasons, but from a defensive standpoint, right, I feel like Amen Thompson is going to be able to just propel himself to that next level that he needs to be. Last year, he averaged 32 minutes a game, which is very, very good, 48 minutes in a game, 14 points per game as well, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 1.4 steals. He was our best, honestly, or the most consistent all-around players, right? He got it done in every area of the floor. Blocks, steals, assists. He made his presence known, and he's tough. He wasn't afraid to do things, which is great, especially when you're playing for Udoka, who values those things. Now, of course, things like the three-point shot needs to be developed, right? That's not necessarily his game right now, and it probably won't be, at least for another couple of years as he develops that. But when I see these stats, I see a lot of upside, especially that 55% field goal rating. Of course, a lot of that is drives, and a lot of that is just putting your head down and going. But yes, I do think Amen Thompson could get better as an offensive scorer. We see right there, 14 points per game last season, which is very solid for a second-year player, right, on Houston, on a very young team. He was able to hold his own, right? He was able to really show out and prove why he was one of the best players in his draft class. And so very luckily that the Rockets did end up drafting him. Very happy with that pick, as we are all seeing now. And so I am very curious to know what you guys think about Amen Thompson and his progression for next season. How many points per game do we expect for him to score next season? In my opinion, I feel like he's going to stay relatively the same, considering how much of the load is now being passed to KD. He scored 26 points per game last year, and so Jalen Green had 21 points per game. And so I feel like just naturally more of that is going to go to KD, and more of that is just going to be the offense is going to revolve around him. But I do think Amen Thompson is going to continue to do what he does best, and that is grab rebounds, score in the paint, and just be very, very aggressive on the defensive end and offensive end, for that matter. And so I'm very curious to know what you guys think. Do you think his points per game is going to go up? Do you think it's going to go down? Or do you think it's going to stay around that 14 mark? I feel like he should strive for 15. I feel like a 15 is a good contribution for who will be an eventual third-year player in the NBA. But let me know in the comments, what are some of your expectations for Amen Thompson going into the 2025-2026 NBA season? I just got to say, I cannot wait to see the first Amen Thompson Kevin Durant lob. The crowd, I hope it happens in Toyota Center. I want the crowd to go absolutely nuts. It's going to be a fun season, considering all the duos and all the rotations that can be involved for this Rockets team. It's going to be great to see what Ime Udoka has drawn up. Of course, that double big lineup is going to be utilized a lot this season, especially considering the addition of Clint Capella. But let me know what your expectations for Amen Thompson are for next season. And with that, this has been another episode of Rockets Digest. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and we'll see you on the next one.